You've worked a full 8-hour day, maybe longer, and you're both starving and thirsty. Thank goodness your partner's home preparing dinner, surf and turf to be exact. So you stop at the local wine shop to buy a bottle and hold on. What was the rule again? Wait, do you pair to the surf or to the turf? You explain this issue to the clerk who is approached, and she begins dropping words like full-bodied, dry, and tannic. You pretend like you understand, agree to the bottle she holds in her hand, and move on, but honestly, was there a better choice? Ultimate dining experiences are created through understanding of basic wine characteristics and knowledge of food and wine pairing. This speech will describe some of those confusing wine terms, characteristics such as body, acidity, and tannins, and how these can help with pairing food to wine. Certain food flavors are brought out with appropriate wine pairing. However, in order to choose the right wine, one must first understand common terms for wine characteristics. General knowledge of basic wine characteristics will help individuals determine which type of wine is best for their palate. In 2012 review on winefolly.com, Puckett states, since over 250,000 different wines are released every year around the world, it's helpful to think about wine characteristics. The body of a wine can be full, medium, or light-bodied. Mary Gorman McAdams is a master of wine and wine columnist for The Kitchen, a popular blog on wine. In 2012, she states that the body of wine is used to describe the general weight, fullness, or overall feeling of wine in your mouth. She also gives percentages for typical wines. Gorman McAdams states that a full-bodied wine is above 13.5%, and medium-bodied wines are between 12 and 13.5%. My personal favorite is red, which is a fuller body. Acidity is another common term used to describe wine. In the same review on winefolly.com, Puckett says acidity in wine and food and drink is tart and zesty. It creates a tingling sensation on the palate when ingesting acidic wines. Now imagine you've squeezed too much lemon on your food. The same happens with wine. High acidity levels make it sour and taste tart. A balanced wine with acidity is refreshing and crisp. Tannin is probably one of those most misunderstood terms. Tannins in wine make your mouth feel dry, which is often confused with dryness, another wine term. Tannin in wine adds structure and texture with its bitter and herbaceous feel. The blogger for The Kitchen, Gorman McAdams, states in a 2012 post, as wine ages, its tannins soften out and dissipate. Those three characteristics are helpful to know when thinking of pairing wine to food. The world of wine has come a long way from assuming that reds go with dark meats and whites go with lighter meats or fish. Today's drinker is taking wine's characteristics and applying them to dominant features on the plate, creating a masterpiece of blended tastes. Food and wine pairing is a form of art where one takes the entire plate into perspective, highlights the dominant flavors, and balances them to appropriate wine characteristics. Many wine lovers, web writers, and 2012's food blogger, Jackie Dodd, on Honest Cooking, all suggest to drink what you like. Seems simple, right? There are 3 basic rules you can remember to help you figure out which wine goes best with your food. Acidic foods are best paired with a highly acidic wine. Wines with high acidity can bring out that citrus taste in your food. And remember the lemon we discussed earlier? You wouldn't want a lemon squeezed all over your Alfredo sauce, so just remember that acidic wines like Sauvignon Blanc do not pair well with creamy sauces. The second rule is tannins should be paired with a meal high in fat. Under pairing guidelines on 2012's website, foodandwinepairing.org, tannins are said to have an astringent, bitter flavor that helps cleanse the palate of rich fats from a meal and provide a refined, refreshing taste. The same food writer of Honest Cooking, Jackie Dodd, claims that fatty foods help to soften tannins. Pairing a bold Cabernet with prime rib yields a smooth glass of wine and delicious red taste. And for a final rule, remember that wine should be matched with dominant flavors on your plate, not necessarily the type of meat. For instance, some steak recipes call for a creamy sauce or a lemon sauce. Match a crisp white wine like Chardonnay with this meal to enhance flavors. Now that you're armed with the knowledge of how to best pair a wine's characteristics with the ruling attributes on the plate, a meal can be made into an experience. Allow me to conclude by reminding you of your latest exposure to taste, reinvented by your comprehension of wine qualities and how they can elevate the food on your plate. Tasting experiences can be transformed with knowledge of wine characteristics and how they can best enhance your meal's components. Your palate will recognize the harmony of food and wine, savoring the added dimensions and incite an appreciation for pairing. It is important to be able to define some general characteristics of wine, and included today were acidity, body, and tannins. When pairing wine with food, it's essential to match acidic levels. Remember that tannins like fat, and pair to flavor versus meat. There is something to be said for putting a great glass of wine with a meal. I think before any great dining experience, one could repeat the same words William Powell said back in 1936 in the classic film After the Thin Man. Come on, let's get something to eat. I'm thirsty. Are you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.